Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Mindy Mcfann.
And this is It's Movie Time.
Yes, it is.
Now, Mindy, recently, Tom Hanks did a super job in a movie called The Man Called Otto.
Mm-hmm.
Which was kind of a curmudgeon.
Yes. Yes.
And rehabbed, though.
Mm-hmm.
So here we have Oscar-nominated movie that's called Living.
Yep. Yep.
Starring Bill Nighy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know him as an actor?
Oh, I love him. He's so particular. You know?
Yeah, I think most famously from Love Actually.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got to have seen that movie at least once.
So what kind of a character?
A staid. Everything the same, every ritualistic, I would call him. Yes, does the same thing every single day, every single morning. Just everything's a ritual. He gets on the train, he goes to work, kind of stares straight ahead, is the way I would describe him.
1950s. He's a civil servant in London. And boy, you are right. A word I use sometimes is that he's pretty uptight.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Yes. What a great shot when they're going to work. They're all in bowler hats.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and it's very easy, at least from my perception of English culture, to accept that, as there's a lot of Englishmen like that.
Yes.
I mean, he says at one point that he wanted to be a gentleman when he grew
that
up.
was a lovely moment.
And I thought that was so indicative, at least in my head, of what I could very much imagine a little boy in England thinking that was aspirational.
Yeah, the key here is that he's received a diagnosis, cancer.
Yes.
And he shouldn't be living more than about 6 months. So sounds like a cliche, ready to be cliched here.
Yes. Yes. But I'm, you know, most things are cliches.
You know, it's true, isn't it?
Yes.
What's new?
Yeah.
There's nothing. Come on.
Human stories are human stories, and
They are. All right, so Mr. Williams, this is called.
to his face.
Right. I think he's the head of Public Works.
That's my impression. Yes.
And
Yes. In this small little office with, I think there's 7 people jammed in this little space.
Yeah. So they're responsible for things happening around the city. And there's
Government workers.
Yeah, they're government workers, and he controls the 3 or 4 of them that are sitting around the table, and they're all just as, in some cases, just as uptight as he, except for the new young man, who's played by Alex Sharp.
Yeah.
Peter Wakeland.
Yeah. He's kind of figuring out what's going on and how to fit in an office when you're the new guy.
Yes, and fortunately for him, a lady who works there, played by Amy Lou Wood, Margaret Harris. What's that deal?
She's like she's the pea in the mattress. She's the little unsettling thing. She's a little more friendly, a little more outgoing. She kind of rocks the boat. Like the men try to kind of, even the new guy, trying to fit in around the boss, where she's kind of has an independent spirit that kind of oozes out.
Oh, yes. I think she does a delightful job. I hear she's on TV in a show called Sex Education, something like that.
Yeah, she's lovely.
Yeah.
I like her a lot.
And I think I saw a spot they put a little plate on her teeth to give her buck teeth.
Really?
Yeah, if you look closely enough,
Huh.
it just makes her just dorky enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she's this breath coming in there in that place. And so, well, I guess you have to reveal some of the plot, but it's not much to reveal.
No.
Mr. Williams sees her someday. She's working at another place. Oh, she leaves that job.
Yes, to get a job in a restaurant, and she thinks she's going to be the manager of the restaurant, and they just make her one of the wait staff.
Yes, oh, and that's a nice moment too. Life doesn't always turn out the way you thought.
Right.
Yeah, that is really good. And so the heart of the movie to me is that relationship. What do you think? How would you characterize that? Now, again, this is an extremely cliched story about an older man who learned that he's going to die, and we've seen it with, we'd say about Schmidt, there are other.
Well, and it's a remake of a Akira Kurosawa movie.
Oh,
And
yes.
it follows the original movie very, 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 very closely.
Oh, good.
So it's interesting. Akira Kurosawa makes things interesting. Everybody, you know, he's avant-garde to like him and everything. And it is an example, and I love the idea of Japanese and kind of English, my impression of the culture, that it is lends itself to men being very, I could say uptight, or I could say conventional, or I could say sucking all their emotions in, or all these kind of things that are culturally heralded.
Yes, both Britain and Japan, very private, the guys.
Yes, exactly.
And which you're right, that both cultures, it works very nicely. So the transition from Kurosawa to here is no problem whatsoever.
No, I don't think this has worked well as if it was an American cultural thing,
Yes, right.
because it would have been aberrant.
And the screenplay is by Kazuo Ishiguro, who won the Pulitzer.
Wow.
Yeah, for Remains of the Day. Is that a big surprise?
Okay. No,
No.
no, but that's kind of like this, and that portrayal of stiff upper lip.
Yes,
Stiff upper lip. And yes, she interjects this kind of fun, this not quite, you know, the fact that she'll quit the job when everybody else is like straight ahead.
Yes.
Even the new
Yes.
guy, you know, trying to fit in. And she's a little happier, a little smilier. Yeah.
And you know what I like too, Mindy, is that I think the director, Oliver Hermanus, makes sure that none of them go over the top. Well, of course, really, how they with those characters, how really can they?
Yeah.
But you would think that she could be this bubbly, effervescent human being, taking him out of his shell, and while she does, she is very underplayed in some respect.
Yeah, I think that would have been the American version of this movie. She would have been Megan, you know, all over the place.
Yeah.
No, I think it was very subtle, and I think she was just this little carrot, because I think when he found out he was dying and he was questioning his life, like, I've not done anything, I've not enjoyed myself, and the only person in his sphere that he could think of that represented that joy was her. And so she was like a carrot, and he was trying to glom on to whatever she had that he didn't.
Yes.
And yes, and it wasn't big.
You know, that is so right. They're not big moments. Very subtly does he change into the person we knew would happen. He's going to defrost.
Yeah.
And you know that's going to come from the very beginning. But here, in this movie, they take it so carefully, so slowly. And Nye just underplays completely.
Yeah.
But it endears you to him.
Absolutely.
Because she's not flamboyant, he's not flamboyant. I mean, the person with the most life is the new young man, Peter.
Right.
And he's a cutie pie.
The sense of longevity in it, as opposed to, he is now going to find out he's dying and change everything in his life, and he doesn't.
Yep.
He does one good thing. But that one good thing he does lasts a very long time, into perpetuity. You don't know how long it lasts, how long it affects people, but it's really subtle. And we always want to go for the big, bold life of, and I don't know, I've not had a lot of those moments in my life. So, I mean, he helps these local women build a playground for children that they've been trying to build and build and build, and nobody will help them. They're just being thrown away.
And reflective, in some respect, of rebuilding London after the war. So this is post-war, and it very much fits with the rehab business.
Yeah.
And with his growing concern that they, because they're responsible for it, are not going to do that in a timely way.
Yep.
Don't you love that moment when he files away their
Yes.
folder
Yes.
in the inbox?
Yes.
Oh,
Well, and the whole building files it away.
He
I mean,
does.
because it's just deemed unimportant.
Yeah, I know. Well, Mindy Mcfann, if people want to hear more about us, and we have more to say,
Yeah.
they're going to have to go to Backtalk, which is on the WCBE website under the podcast experience.
So worth it.
Well, and can you imagine people will sign up for us for more of us anyway?
How could you not?
We're enjoying ourselves. Mindy, all right, now, not everybody has heard of the movie Living,
Mm-hmm.
starring a candidate for the Oscar, Bill Nighy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you advise?
If you want to see something poignant and calm, I would absolutely go see this. And again, in the movie theater, there is something about that collectivist
Mindy.
experience,
I know.
and it's very touching.
Yeah,
It's very touching.
not enough people in there for me.
No.
Only very few.
Oh,